My youth, me nah go round on you know my father and my granny wanna kill twin of my father. You believe me? I tell you say my father. My youth, I wanna do to me youth. Wanna do to me. Tell me what wanna do to me dog. What wanna do to me dog. My youth dog, me no know what wanna do to me no dog. Wanna get no too mad in no youth. Youth me wanna kill you in no youth. Wanna know?
Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, news and entertainment with Buzz. Just in case you did not realize, Jamaica is the epicenter of violence. Some of the most serious person, whether it is takeaway, whether it is reprisal, anger management is the order of the day. First thing that is popping in the news, this very handsome, not so young character was held by ICE on April of 2025. His name is Derek Alfonso Roberts, 60-year-old, held by ICE because of his long criminal history. Criminal history on the screen as I speak. It is conviction for manslaughter with intent to cause serious physical injury, criminal possession of controlled substance, criminal solicitation, corruption of a minor, processing an instrument of crime, terroristic threats, criminal conspiracy, cocaine possession with intention to distribute, carrying a firearm during and in relation to a drug trafficking crime, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of a firearm and a biller, where the blood clot, see the word, the big word on the screen. Serial number, that means him cross out the serial number in the custody of ICE. Now, people, when we think about stuff like this man is 60-year-old. That means it seems as if he has been criming for decades. And all of those crimes has finally caught up to him. Manslaughter, drugs, aggression, everything, name it from A to Z. It seems as if this man was involved in everything. But we know when it comes to ICE, they are not very forgiving, especially if you don't have that documentation, meaning citizenship. You could be in America for 5, 10, 15, 20 decades. Once you did not straighten out that citizenship, we know that you're coming back from whence you came. And it seems as if that is the case in this man's case. Because the facts are these. Once you start get one conviction, one arrest, then it keeps adding up. It is like a domino effect. It is like an avalanche of crime that this man was involved with. And people, he is coming back from whence he came. So the moral of the story is this. Tell granny, grandma that her prodigal grandson is coming back. He's not coming back with none of the proceeds of crime because him broke like dog. He is coming back with his 2 long hand, long belly, and none at all. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, it is called Desperate Times Calls for Desperate Measure. We see that these criminal elements, they are getting out of hand. So therefore, the relevant authority took more stringent measures as it pertains to Firearm Amendment Act, as it pertains to the Sentencing Guideline Act. They have amped it up a tad bit. Well, they've amped it up a whole bunch. Based on the information, it is now said that for capital murder, premeditated, it has moved minimum 30 years to 50 years. For non-capital murder, it has moved from 15 to 45 years. What this means, even if you plea bargain, you probably are going to get off 5 years off that 50 years. That is 10%. No longer is it going to be 50%, which is always negotiable. When it comes to children, for capital murder, it is 30 to life. You will be eligible for parole not before 15 years, as it pertains to non-capital murder by a minor. That is going to be life sentence, negotiable by the judge depending on the circumstance. I am going to let your Security Minister, Mr. Delroy Chuck, explain everything in detail, and then I am going to let former Information Minister explain everything in intricate details. Take a listen, take a look.
The term appears to be deemed as life imprisonment from 30 years to 50 years, where the offense committed is murder. The starting point for calculating the reduction in the sentence is usually life imprisonment, and the aim of this proposed amendment is to maintain an incentive scheme for defendants to plead guilty while ensuring that the reduced sentence is not inordinately low, having regard to the serious nature of the offense. Murder is the most serious offense probably committed in the country, maybe outside of treason. And Madam Speaker, this Parliament has to send the clear and unmistakable message to potential killers that life is sacrosanct, sacred, and when taken, the offender must be prepared and must know that they're going to spend a long time in prison.
New penalties for murder were passed in the House of Representatives yesterday. And so what was passed, and you have to really pay attention to this, there were amendments made to the Offences Against the Person Act, the Criminal Justice Administration Act, and the Child Care and Protection Act. These amendments represent a vital and deliberate response to the levels of violent crime in our society, particularly those involving the most heinous offense, which is murder. In respect of the Offences Against the Person Amendment Bill, for non-capital murder, the mandatory minimum sentence for imprisonment is now 30 years. That's 30 years for non-capital murder under the Offences Against the Person Act. For capital murder, we have increased the mandatory minimum sentence to be served before being eligible for parole from 20 years to 50 years. That is us saying that we are really serious on crime. We are saying that the victims of murder and of crime matter, and that the penalties have to be very, very strong. We've also seen under that same act, the Offences Against the Person Act, we're increasing the mandatory minimum sentence to be served before being eligible for parole, where the sentence is imprisonment for life. We're moving that from 15 years to 40 years. And finally, where a term of years has been imposed, the period that must be served before becoming eligible for parole is 20 years. In terms of the Criminal Justice Administration Amendment Bill, there were some amendments that were recommended here that have been passed and were passed yesterday, and it increases the term of years to be deemed as life imprisonment from 30 years to 50 years where the offense committed is murder. The starting point for calculating the reduction in the sentence is usually life imprisonment, and the aim of this amendment is to maintain an incentive scheme for defendants to plead guilty, but ensuring that the reduced sentence is not inordinately low.
So people, my maths was a little bit off as it pertains to the years for this and the years for that. But it is a whole heap of years. A lot of persons are going to rethink whether they want to take this case to trial. So the plea bargain is going to fall very fastly. These criminals are going to get more desperate. They are going to do everything within their will to try to get away from the police. That also includes taking away the police. Some just say, you sleep and mark DEATH. If you're a police or if you're a criminal element, these people are serious, like a judge will not laugh. No sorts of sympathy party is going to be thrown. Mandatory minimum, them call it. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we see that most of the crimes that are being committed in Jamaica, the people are wearing two stuff. The people are wearing masks and the people are wearing hoodies. Now, isn't it ironic that since the COVID, the big C situation, maybe the 2019, 2020 coming forward, 2023 or so, when it was mandated that you wear a mask out in the public, people actually refused to wear masks. However, fast forward, 2025, mask and hoodie is now fashionable. People, they are part of the average person on the street wearing mask and hoodie. Now, I understand, not to say that it is justified for the bleachers. And I understand that if you are a race car driver and it is to prevent any sorts of fire, that would be acceptable. If you're a bike racer and you put it on, same kind of circumstance as protection gear. However, what are you doing in a Jamaica, especially in a April? Sunny climate, and you're in a mask, you're in a hoodie, you're in a black, in the wee hours of the sunlight. It makes absolutely no sorts of sense. And I understand, we see the rapper them do it, we see influencers doing it. So Jamaica, you know that this is a copycat place, just like over the place where them do the infrastructure. Xerox people. However, it makes no sorts of practical sense, other than these people have now found a way in which them can commit them crime and there will be less likely that they are identified. So therefore, it is criminal intention, and that is what we've seen being played out in the public. So most persons are clamoring, saying that, listen, the relevant authority need to make rules and law and ban hoodies and ban ski masks. Well, people, here's the thing. People can wear them hoodie. However, you can't just walk up and down, if it not cold, in the sun hats, and then enter people business establishment. Because we've seen in our two latest videos that I did, the man going at the people clothing store, rob the people, and then push him liquor tea in the lady mouths. As it pertains to the TikToker Jamaica's son, we saw that the person that took him out, he was also wearing hoodie, black and ski mask, black pan black alliance. However, the next thing that persons are saying, the same thing applies to the police. How is it that when these police go on operation, all of them have on all sorts of ski masks, but they refuse to wear any sorts of body camera? People, like me say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So therefore, if you are going to amend stuff for John Public, you need to also do it for the JC. Unless, of course, they are going on some sorts of undercover mission. But you cannot be out there just interacting with John Public, Jane Public, and nobody can identify you. That means you can't do anything. There's no badge, there's no body camera. So it is going to be your word versus John Public word. And we all know how that works. The police is always going to get the benefit of the doubt, even when they are dead wrong, literally, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, the average civilian resident in a Jamaica, citizen, them a wonder, them a ponder. With all of this rampant crime taking place in Jamaica, what can the average citizen do to protect themselves? Why is it so hard for the average law-abiding tax-paying citizen to have access to a fire piece? Most persons are saying that those measures to achieve a fire piece license, it is too stringent. We see that there was a big election at Trinidad and Tobago, and the person that win, a female prime minister. This is exactly what she had to say as it pertains to persons arming themselves, defending themselves against criminal element. I want you to take a listen, take a look at exactly what she has to say, and then I'll give my piece.
Home invasion laws and legal firearms. And when the brutal rapists and criminals come into your homes, I tell you again, load up your matic, light them up, empty the clip.
Now, people, when you look at Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica versus Jamaica, then pretty much we have the same problems. However, we hear this Prime Minister is taking a stance against crime and criminality. She is telling the average citizen that is there that is eligible to get a fire piece. Get your fire piece, protect yourself, protect your family. Whenever these persons cross the border like Shibada and invade your premises, you need to light them up, starlights, take them out, empty the clip on them. Now it is going to sound a bit extreme to some people, especially if you are one of those persons that are Christian. But this lady is telling the truth. Desperate times calls for desperate measure. And if the police, the relevant authority, cannot protect you, cannot protect your family, you need to do everything by any means necessary to do so, because the life that you save might just be your own and your family. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we see that the relevant authority, the government, your boss, is now in people's bedroom, getting into their personal stuff. Well, people, this is because persons are bringing their bedroom and personal stuff in at the job, as in those passionate marks known as icky. The relevant authority is saying that, listen, if you come at work with any icky on your neck, like Barnabas Collins did a suck off your neck, you're going to be asked to leave, and that is going to be deducted from your leave or from your pay for that day. That means you're not going to get no sorts of pay. Well, people, I do not want you to listen to me as the blogger. I want you to take a look to what these reputable newscasters have to say as it pertains to that, and then I'll give my piece.
Employees showing up to work with visible marks on their skins, colloquially referred to as hickeys, would face immediate disciplinary action. The notice by the clerk stated that effective April 28, any employee displaying such marks would be sent home and have the day deducted from their leave entitlement. She cited a paragraph of the public sector staff orders which mandates professional dress and appearance, emphasizing that Parliament must uphold the highest standards of professionalism and decorum.
Now, people, you and I understand what makes sense, what is rule, what is common decency, what is professionalism. And if you are working in a work environment, you should not go to work with no big icky on your neck, especially when it is standing out like one of those Christmas red bulbs. It does not look good. It is very distracting. It is going to make people pre you a certain way. I said to themselves, then hold on a minute. I saw this little scan come and work with this big red icky on her neck. Something right. It just does not sound professional, none at all. So therefore, the relevant authority, I think, have the rights to invade or intrude in cases like this. But here's the thing. How are you going to know if that red mark is definitely a hickey? What makes you a professional to determine? What makes you an expert in the field to say, yes, this is a icky, this is a bees or wasp bite, this is some sort of licked cuff by a boyfriend or a woman? It is going to be hard to determine that, and people can always contest it, even though based upon certain criteria, we could tell what is a icky, what is a lick, and what is bees bite. You know, say back in the days, when your girlfriend or boyfriend are cheat on you, and you have on, and you see them with a icky, and you ask them are going to tell you, say, and their mother lick them with piece of stick, or bees bite them, rete, lele. It was not believable then, and more than likely, it is not going to be believable as any sort of defense in the professional environment. But just as I say, let me know what you think in the comment section, point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.